Professor Ian Scobbie, Professor of International Law at Manchester University, because as you were hearing there from Dan and also from Ben Wright, our political correspondent earlier, there is a lot of concern, particularly expressed by Jeremy Corbyn today, over whether international law has been followed with these military strikes. Professor Scobbie, in your expert analysis, Downing Street have put 3 points forward that show that they're not in breach of international law. In a nutshell, to save lives from chemical attacks. Is that right? Have Downing Street got it spot on?
The argument they've given is not convincing for a number of reasons. The first one is that the main idea they've used is the idea of humanitarian intervention. That does not have widespread support. I mean, we have to go back to the UN Charter. Article 2, paragraph 4 of the UN Charter prohibits the threat or use of force in international relations. This is obviously a use of force. The government has talked about humanitarian intervention. It is not a recognised exception to the prohibition on the use of force. It is opposed by a number of states, including Russia and China. When the argument that the government has put forward is very reminiscent of what's called the Blair Doctrine, which was enunciated by Tony Blair at the Chicago Economic Club in April 1999 in relation to NATO airstrikes on Serbia in relation to Kosovo.
OK, all right. So, I mean, just remember that a lot of us aren't experts in international law. We get what you're saying. Humanitarian intervention doesn't have much support in international law. But what about military intervention just simply to save lives from a chemical attack? Is that not just a justification in itself? Forget law. Morally, we have a choice, don't we? We do nothing or we do something. That's what Theresa May will be saying tonight.
Yeah, politicians always want to do something. They want to be seen to act. But, you know, there are procedures which should be used. Now, after the use of humanitarian intervention by NATO in relation to Kosovo, there were discussions about this. And what resulted from these discussions was a doctrine called responsibility to protect, which is a much more complex idea than the Blair Doctrine. However, although the responsibility to protect recognized that there could be situations in which states could intervene using armed force against a state which was committing atrocities against its own population, the consensus was that needed to be authorized by the Security Council. That then takes us, to the kind of second bit of the government's justification for this action. The idea that, well, we couldn't get action taken through the Security Council, therefore we had to act on our own. That is not convincing for two reasons.
OK, Professor Ian Scobbie, many thanks for your thoughts there. He is not just alone tonight. Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour leader, saying that the legality of the missile strikes is questionable. There's going to be